Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rare Earth Exchanges podcast where we've got me, Dustin, and we've got Daniel. Today we're talking about some of the latest current events that are going on in the rare earth elements industry. And we got some crazy stuff going on, wouldn't you say, Daniel?
Yeah, I would say so, Dustin. It's getting pretty wild out there.
Wild Wild West, would you
It's
say?
wild, wild west. Yeah, how about we start the wild, wild west, ex-China. There are ex-China markets happening. Lots of news, but I think first and foremost, and it's not even published yet on the Rare Earth Exchange's website, but President Trump has issued an executive order on critical minerals. It's declaring an immediate action on mineral production. The Trump and the White House are acknowledging that what rare earth exchanges, that is us, have been saying for quite a while, and that is since our founding, that there's a national emergency, that the United States has a crippling dependence on foreign controlled rare earth elements and critical minerals, and of course, 90% of that is China. So this recent executive order is framed as a national security item and economic crisis, national security economic crisis, and this order aims to slash permitting timelines, open federal lands for mining, and inject capital into domestic mineral projects. Okay, so all that's good. Okay, there are some issues. Okay, I'll go a little bit more. They're trying to mobilize all the different overlapping agencies that are involved with mining and critical minerals: Department of Defense, Department of Energy, National Development Finance Corporation, and others. And they're leveraging the Defense Production Act to bypass bureaucratic hurdles where and when they can. And we heard chatter that they would do this. This order, Dustin, it's a lot, and it's in the right direction, but it still falls woefully short to deal with China. Okay, it really focuses on upstream mining. That is, whether it's Greenland or somewhere in the United States. Get that mine up, get that mining. Get the permits and get that thing up. Instead of 15 years, get it up in 5 years or whatever. Okay, it doesn't really address the real crux of the problem, which are midstream, the separation, the refining, processing, refining, and the manufacturing, the components, parts, and assemblies, magnets, what have you, that are part of this holistic process. And the government, they're not looking at this as a holistic process, Dustin. They're looking at it as an analogy somebody told me. It's like sort of bodybuilding. If you're bodybuilding and all you do is bicep curls or tricep curls, right? But you don't do your legs, you don't do your back, you don't do your chest, you're going to look kind of funny, right, Dustin?
Well, kind of funny might be a bit modest, but yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be one of those guys with. So the problem, the U.S. is not looking holistically via an industrial policy. We've been saying since we've been founded, you need a critical mineral czar. You need industrial policy to build refineries. We need to bring that expertise back. That midstream processing plants, magnet production facilities to reduce the risk from China. So while the order, prioritizes regulatory streamlining, it does not outline the potential response that can happen from China. Remember, if China shuts us off tomorrow, we don't have anything.
Yeah, we're up a creek without a paddle.
Exactly. Beijing has weaponized its control of rare earth exports. The U.S. push now is going to put them on a trigger's notice. There could be further market manipulation, price dumping, or export restrictions, as we talked about. The financial provisions of this effort are vague. Again, the order does call for public-private partnerships, but it lacks any explicit funding commitments or incentives to ensure long-term competitiveness against China's state-subsidized rare earth industry. And again, Dustin, in China, they've got a handful of companies that are the result of roll-ups of multiple companies. They're all owned by the state, at least partially, and they're aligned with their mission over there, which is to leverage this refinery and production monopoly, quasi-monopoly, to bolster their economy and position, which is they're doing. So, on the one hand, this is a really good news. It's a step in the right direction, to the credit of President Trump.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a good step, but I think even in our last episode, we were talking about I mean, mining is good, and without government funding, which is, I think, where China maybe had the foresight in doing well in this, is backing these mines because it's expensive, right? I don't think you can take that capitalistic approach to create a mine
Yeah,
and have it be profitable, right? Like if nobody can make money, like there's just it'll go nowhere. And so I think, as you pointed out, the lack of funding in the messaging is, I would say, is a red flag. And maybe that probably won't put China on trigger watch because it's like, well, like nice try, guys, like nice try, but you haven't even thought the whole thing through.
I mean, that's a good point. We don't know, and we're not talking to the Trump administration, so we don't know. But
Not yet, not yet.
we can only know what we can decipher from what they're stating. So, it doesn't seem to be enough. I don't understand. I don't know if they understand the severity of this problem, but I think they're starting to understand it.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's give them credit. They are starting to understand.
Yeah,
I think you can't, in one regard, I would say you can't process anything, you can't refine anything if you don't have it,
true enough.
right?
True
And
enough.
so I would say, yeah, step one, great. Let's acquire the material to even to worry about processing and refining. Because until then, why spin our wheels, right?
Yes.
Give them credit. Maybe that's coming. We don't know. But yeah, great first step.
No,
Kudos
I
to the Trump
agree with you.
administration.
That's what we said. It's a good first step, and again, we just need to be very agile or adaptive. We need to be observant, and we need to be strategic in how we. If you're going to really enter this market and really take on a state-sponsored monopoly that the whole world is dependent on.
Yeah. What's the phrase? Got to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Well, look, I can tell you this, Dustin. We put our money where our mouth is. We started rare earth exchanges, and I think it was a smart move. I think it's an extremely timely topic.
Yes.
So anyway, so that's that. I mean, there's some other important news that wasn't necessarily on our agenda. If I may talk about a couple other things, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So, very important news is Traxxas and Arafura put together a deal, which is one of two deals this week to create what we call ex-China supply chain for rare earths. So it's a big deal. There's things happening. Okay.
So, Daniel, for the benefit of those who aren't in this industry, what is ex-China? Like what is like an ex-wife? Like what is ex-China?
Yeah, ex-China means outside. It means outside of China. And
Okay.
so all the whole rare earth element market is in China. The Chinese control it. They control the product. They control the pricing. They control the distribution, everything. So 90%. Okay. This week we've had a couple deals that are evidencing the Western players starting to set up supply chains ex-China or outside of China. One of them is the Australian mine in development called Arafura, and that's a big project that's not done yet. And this company Traxxas. Traxxas is a prominent global commodities trading firm. It's actually the result of a merger of other companies that came together around 2003. It's based in Luxembourg, 20 offices around the world. And based on this deal with Arafura, it's evidence of activity outside of China. So more specifics, Arafura, the mining company, signed a binding 5-year offtake agreement with Traxxas for 100 to 300 tons of NdPr oxide annually from what is called the Nolens project. The Nolens mine is where they're mining the rare earths. Now, 5-year offtake means the product that they're producing from the mine, they're getting guaranteed purchase from Traxxas. So the deal represents a significant move given it's meant to reduce rare earth supply chain dependence on China, again, targeting critical markets like electric vehicles and renewable energy. Arafura now has secured 66% of its planned 4,400 TPA of NdPr production capacity, and this positions Arafura as a major non-Chinese NdPr supplier. So think about it. This is outside of China. This is it's not done yet, this mine, but it's on its way. They're publicly traded, Arafura Rare Earths Limited, Australian Stock Exchange, symbol ARU. And again, they have these binding agreements. So, and the company, it's based on ex-China pricing. So the NdPr pricing will be pegged to what they call the ex-works China price, ensuring competitive but independent market structure. So it's not based on the Chinese pricing. It's like the first step towards a marketplace. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal. It seems like technical, maybe not that big of a deal. It's actually a very big deal. And there's another deal that happened this week, and that was POSCO cut a deal with, I have to get the name, it's an American company called, bear with me one second, POSCO and US-based Energy Fuels, Inc. Okay, so Energy Fuels, the name of the company, they're a uranium miner, and POSCO's that Korean steel conglomerate, aimed to establish an independent rare earth magnet supply chain outside of China. So another ex-China market supply chain. The partnership is contemplated to provide rare earth element magnets for United States, Europe, South Korea, and Japanese automakers. Okay, so both electric vehicle and regular cars that may have magnets. So, there's a number of key risks in this deal, and it's not as big as the Arafura and Traxys deal, but it's an important indicator that what we establish rare earth exchanges to monitor is happening. So this latest deal with Energy Fuels, the company, which is again an American company, and the POSCO is based on a memorandum of understanding. So it's MOU, so it's not a full contract yet. So we have to monitor this one, but it's notable.
Yeah, that's very encouraging. Honestly, just considering the conversations we've had even on this podcast of how asleep at the wheel it feels like everyone has been, it's really encouraging to see businesses and countries starting to make deals outside of China.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's happening, and so I think that we set up rare earth exchanges to actually chronicle this unfolding situation, and it's literally happening. Good timing, Dustin.
It's honestly wild.
Yeah, yeah, we're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, we unsuspectingly maybe stumbled into it. The automotive industry was kind of my introduction to all of this, but even then, it didn't seem like there's a whole lot of talk around it. Nobody's talking about the implications of what's going on,
Yeah.
So,
and you wonder why we're constantly asking ourselves, why aren't people taking this more seriously, So a couple other pieces of news that we can cover. Yesterday, we covered Japan investing $109 million into a French rare earth refinery to cut China dependence. Again, here's another example. Look what's happening. All these deals. It's just one after the other. So Japan and France collaborate on a €2 million, so it's a little bit more than $200 million investment in Caristre's rare earth refining and recycling project, launching in 2026. The initiative aims to diversify rare earth supply chains away from China's global dominance. The project will produce 590 tons of dysprosium and terbium annually, and this secures approximately about 20% of Japan's rare earth demand. So look at this. And the company is called Caristre. Caristre is a French company, okay, and it's a rare earth company that I believe is in Paris. It was in 2019, Frederic Caron-Cot, alongside a team of passionate, internationally renowned researchers and professionals, founded Caristre. So it's only founded in 2019 as a true hub of European expertise in the rare earth field. So they have 100% of sales revenue internationally derived. 36% of revenue is invested in R&D. Pretty impressive company, not that old to say. So yet another example of, again, companies in Europe or the US and Japan here agreeing to do business to create a parallel or ex-China market. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is mind blowing, honestly, that what we've talked about three major deals, of sorts going on in just the last week.
Yeah, just the last
Like,
week. I mean, it's crazy.
is it coincidental? Like, do they all get together and like, you're gonna make a deal, you're gonna make a deal, you're gonna make a deal. It's just
It,
crazy. Like, what's going on?
it's I mean, it's just what the West wants some independence from China. I think that, we're reporting on these things. We're getting a lot of traffic, aren't we, Dustin? It's exploding.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We're picking up speed, which is just another indication of this topic. As niche as it might sound and as boring as it could probably be, people are interested and concerned. Like they're coming to learn more and probably honestly see what the options are.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's going to be huge business opportunities. There's going to be, for the midstream to downstream, that's going to be a whole different thing. That's going to explode. We're predicting 2026. Experts we talk to say 2026 is when it really explodes, because that's when, especially if China, gets more aggressive in blocking access to these products,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll see President Trump invest even more. You'll start to see the industrial policy that we're talking about, where, see, the U.S. is not really, its economy isn't really run like that. We don't have industrial policy. The government, although the government's intimately involved in lots of sectors in many ways, we kind of become a crony capitalistic country in many ways. We still don't have industrial policy, which, you think of more of a socialistic or hybrid economy, okay? But to counter what China's done, you really have no choice. I mean, you can wait it out. More than likely, market forces over 20, 30 years will prevail. But as one famous economist said, in the long run, we're all dead. So, if we want more resilience sooner, let's say within 5 years, probably need industrial policy. But I think what President Trump has done today is a big step in that direction.
I think it is a really big step. It's very encouraging, and it'll be even that more interesting to see what the response is, for one, and if there is more to follow up with that.
Oh, yeah.
Like we already said, like funding. Is the government going to fund it beyond tax credits or deductions? Right?
Yeah.
Like we need much more than that to incentivize the private sector to get involved. Like, I think it'll be really interesting to see. And we're 3 months into 2025, which means 2026 is that much closer. And if it's really going to explode, I'm very curious to see
Well, it does
how the stage will be set for this.
100%. And I just want to share that, the website, the work you've done is great. It's really growing. The traffic is growing. We have comments now. We're working on a hub for like investors and others that want to talk about some of these companies, their finances, their legal situation, what have you. We're building a compelling platform. I just want to let people know that rare earth exchanges is coming up.
Yeah, we are coming up. Yeah, lots to pay attention to, for sure. I think, talking about business and opportunity and things like that, one of the things that we noticed with the website outside of the news is, we put out an article on areas to invest in, to pay attention to. Not necessarily recommending you should go invest, but, these are some companies to pay attention to. And we saw major traffic to this article, which just indicates, I think, general public and interest looking into what's going on. So it's not just what the Trump administration is doing is an indicator. We've also got our own analytics indicating where the interest is and what people are looking at. So yeah, come to the website. You're bound to learn something.
Yeah, no. If you want to learn about this topic, and again, we're not going 10 feet deep with it. We only go so deep with the material, and there's plenty of things we're learning something new every day. I talk to experts out there, and they tell me that every day they've been doing this for 20, 30 years, they're still learning. We cover a lot of ground. We are independent, very important, right, Dustin? We're independent. We try to be as objective as possible.
Yes. In other words, we're not state owned.
No, definitely not state owned. We're not, we're not wed to any company or any ideology. We're obviously Americans, and we have a bias towards our own country, which is
Hmm.
understandable. But we're definitely trying to. The genesis for this is that someone that we consult with, he's a real expert in this area and very great guy. And he said that, a large percentage of the news that you read out there about this topic is off. And so we're trying to democratize this industry's information, add more services, right? So we can become more valuable. That's kind of cool too.
Hmm.
And, make a difference in a very important industry, an industry that has national security implications.
Yeah, lots of implications. You just said earlier ago, like if China were to cut us off today, like sayonara,
Yeah.
right?
Well, we
You
would
know,
be, you would have, within 90 days, probably, you would have shortages of a lot of products, right?
everything.
That would hit military, aerospace, defense, high tech, electric vehicles, electronics,
Oh
industrial
yeah.
electronics. I mean, you name it. What we're learning, these little minerals, they're like essential ingredients. You may not need that much. A big submarine, only needs maybe $10,000 worth, a $50 million submarine might need $10,000 worth of rare earths, but you can't build it without it.
Yeah, yeah, it's the cornerstone, the keystone,
Yeah.
right? The you can't have that archway without the keystone, right?
No, exactly. Now there are, where the marketplace, as we've discussed a lot, we put original content out based on studies. We go find studies, very technical, we read them, summarize them, try to be as objective as possible, look at the limitations of the study, look at the reality of the market. But like take non-rare earth magnets. There's a company called Neuron Magnetics. We've spoken with them. Good people. It's a University of Minnesota spinoff. They're building a non-rare earth magnet that over time probably can be used in a lot of places. But it's going to take time, right? Recycling. There's people working on Phoenix tailings, right? They're working on rare earth recycling technology. University of Utah has a project. They're looking at coal tailings. There's all kinds of projects, but they're still in early stages. So when you look at what you really need from an industrial scalability point of view, you go back to dependence on China. Mountain Pass Mine, MP Materials, they're the biggest rare earth mine in North America, or United States at least. And they're cut a deal with General Motors to provide magnets. So there's a lot happening. We'll try to objectively, chronicle all of this. And we want to invite investors. We want to start, tracking companies, tracking the conditions, try to add value to different demographics groups interested in this stuff.
Absolutely.
So
Yes, we're getting there. And with all the hot goss out there, come to Rare Earth Exchanges. We'll have more news, and we'll be back next week for sure
yes.
to talk about anything else
Well,
that is
Dustin, let's
upcoming.
remind everybody, sorry to interrupt you, but let's
Yeah,
remind everybody that we're going to start having guests. So pretty soon, we're
yeah,
going to start inviting guests to do interviews, talk about companies, talk about conditions, talk about projects, etc. And also, I want to remind everybody, Rare Earth Exchanges projects. We now have somebody working for us that's going through all of these mines around the world and updating the information. And at some point in the next weeks, month at the most, but pretty soon we'll have like very granular updated information on just about every rare earth mine around the world.
yeah.
So
It's exciting. Yes, projects are coming along, um, and um, yeah, keep coming. We're exploding as fast as this is evolving. I feel like things are coming along. So
yeah, thanks to
um,
your great work. Together we're growing now. We have others, but we definitely started something very interesting.
yeah, 100%. So with that, we'll sign off, and we'll be back again next week. And catch you guys later.
Have a good coming weekend.